spoken to thousands of couples, tens of thousands of couples over the years all across the world, and I think it's sex that couples find it really hard to talk about. And that's surprising, because we live in a world where sex is everywhere. Adverts, films, the whole thing, and yet many couples find it really hard to even raise the subject. I think it's really important that we're honest with each other and realistic. You know, research has shown that couples that openly communicate about sex, that they talk about it, any difficulties, what they each enjoy, what they don't enjoy, what bothers them. Research has shown that couples that do that have a much more satisfying sex life.
I think both Rob and I think there's probably 4 myths that cover the expectations of a great sex life, actually. First myth would be that sex is always absolutely fabulous. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yes.
But you know, the truth of it is, it can't always be like Hollywood. You know, I've watched films, and these film stars, they wake up in the morning and they look stunning. Their hair is fabulous, the men look great, there's no dirty underpants around the bedroom floor.
Too much information, Dianne.
And, you know, it is a myth. The films set the standard so high that we shouldn't even try to compete with it. The second myth is that sex should always be spontaneous in marriage. You know, that's not always possible. The greatest killer of a good sex life is exhaustion, tiredness. Most of us have lived a very busy and full day. You know, you're going around picking up after the children, you've been shopping, you've got 1,000,001 things to do. Most of us would say we have sex at the end of the day when we are most exhausted. And therefore, I think it's really important that we find a time where we are not so shattered and we can enjoy our sex life together.
You know, I think one of the ways to combat that business of being too shattered to have sex is a little planning. To say that, you know, we'll have an evening where we at least make room for us to have sex. Now, I know what we're thinking. We're thinking, oh, that sounds dreadful. Like, it's Friday night, it must be sex night. Now, if it's just that, then sure, that's not the best way. But you know what? If that Friday night is our night, and we know we've got the phone off that night, we know we're not going to spend the whole night in front of telly, we've actually made a bit of time for each other, and hey, a little romance, a couple of candles, just the opportunity to make life a bit more conducive to love making. That can be very special, and for many couples, that works wonderfully. Dianne and I think the third myth, and we see it time and time again, is that over the long haul, you can have a great sexual relationship without a good, satisfying relationship outside of the bedroom. And in our experience, it's just not true. You know, when we talk to couples and say, if you could change anything about your relationship, very often a bloke will say, well, I wish my wife was more interested in sex. And we turn to the woman, what would you change? And time again, a woman will say, affection. A bit of romance. I want him sometimes when we go shopping to hold my hand instead of walk 50 yards ahead of me. I just want to know I matter. And that's very important. This relationship outside of the bedroom. I think the fourth myth is that we're the only couple in the world having difficulties in our sexual relationship. And you know, when we do feel that, it's awful, because it does seem that everybody else is having incredible sex, and it's a horrible feeling of isolation. But you know, it's not just them, it's not just us. In our 40 years of marriage, we've certainly been through times like that, and we know, talking to thousands of other couples, these times are not only normal, but probably inevitable. And at these times, we need to be understanding with each other, to be gentle, to be loving, and sometimes have a little patience. And we believe with all our hearts that normally it's possible to rediscover a fulfilling sex life again.